train, sounding loud, ride on the peace train.
He conquered the wild world of pop with heartfelt songs that spoke eloquently to his times.
Don't you feel a change coming from another side of time?
Essentially, I lived and breathed music. That was my life.
Matthew and Tom, the what's never done, there's always something new.
He burst onto the scene in the swinging 60s, a fresh-faced teen sensation called Cat.
Got out of the car with all these girls screaming. They virtually almost stripped him. It was unbelievable.
I was on the road, sleeping between lorry lights.
But the young star burned out in a flash.
Trouble, oh, trouble set me free.
The doctor said to him that, you know, you only had a couple of weeks of life left in you. You would have been dead.
Oh, baby, baby, it's a wild world.
Cat climbed back, this time to even greater heights. In the 70s, he sent 7 albums into the top 10.
This is a guy that could sell out Madison Square Garden 2 nights in a row without a record out.
And I know that I have to go away. I know I have to go.
But after selling 40 million records, he turned his back on the business, and Cat Stevens was no more.
There was no more left in me.
I want to get off, is what he was saying. And I want to be free.
I think I see the light coming through me.
His devoted fans were mystified, unable or unwilling to understand why.
I'm still being viewed as someone who has said and done things which I've never said and never done.
Don't hand me back to me, bit of blue, my bit of blue.
Now, for the first time, he sets the record straight about his remarkable journey. The tale of a cat with 3 lives. Cat Stevens, the story behind the music.
I'm trying now to come out to give people a chance to have a bit more intimate understanding of who I am and what I believe.
I gave my last chance to you. Don't hand it back to me, bit of blue. Listen to the wind of my soul. Where I'll end up, well, I think only God really knows.
The force that propels his soul has taken him on an extraordinary journey. More than once, he ascended the heights of stardom. More than once, he faced death. And more than once, he was saved.
I swam upon the devil's lake, but never, 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 I'll never make the same mistake.
In a relentless quest for his true identity, he changed his sound, his persona, and even his name.
Now I'm on my way, I know I am.
The world knew him as Cat Stevens, the poetic troubadour whose searching songs speak to generations.
I thank the moon, I had the strength to stop.
But while the writer's introspective lyrics may have pointed to his journey's end, when he turned his back on stardom, it shocked everyone.
I just decided to take a jump. And I said, until I know better, until I know how music can fit into this whole thing, or how I can express myself in a new way, perhaps I better take a break.
Come the morning, I'll be far from here, slowly rising in another sphere. Oh, world, goodbye.
The path he chose led him to a faith few in the West understand.
Cause I'll be home in the sky in the morning. Bye, 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 bye. Lovely city, when do you lie?
The long road he's traveled began just after the Second World War, amidst the chaos of London's bustling West End. Born Stephen Dimitri Giorgio in 1948, he was the youngest of 3 children. His older brother David says Stephen stood out from the very start.
My brother was an extremely beautiful child, and so much so that we used to go out, when my mother would go out for walks and stuff like that with the stroller, people would stop us just to have a look at the of this beautiful baby.
As years went by, the boy grew high and the village looked on in awe.
His mother Ingrid was Swedish with a mild disposition. His father Stavros was a spirited Greek Cypriot whose presence could be felt blocks away.
He had a very loud voice and he was always shouting for Stevie or David, and it really was deafening. And that's the kind of environment he grew up in.
The neighborhood remains much as it was when the Giorgio family lived in cramped quarters above the restaurant they ran in the West End. The Moulin Rouge put food on the Giorgio's table, and Stephen was pressed into service at a tender age.
I was trained very early on, to be able to work in the restaurant, to serve, to be a waiter. That's how I learnt to first serve, the public.
Remember the days of the old schoolyard? We used to laugh a lot. Oh, don't you remember the days of the old schoolyard?
Stephen attended St. Joseph's Catholic School, where the nuns' stern warning about the wages of sin left a lasting impression.
It was the awakening of my conscience. But of course, the messages I was receiving were both different. One was in the church, was warning me, about the fleshly pleasures of life, and the other one was actually attracting me towards it.
Oh, I can't keep it in. I can't keep it in. I've got to let it out.
Stephen was no choir boy. He and his best friend Andrew Karitsis often played hooky, running the streets of the city's seedier side, slipping into movie houses, scaling rooftops, and playing pinball.
That was our playground, which was the West End, really. Quite dangerous if you think about it at that kind of age. But we experimented with most things, but we had a good time. Good laugh, good friends.
Now every second down the nose, on the city goes.
The West End was tough, but its vibrant musical theater scene held a special fascination for Stephen.
I'd be hanging around the stage door, listening to the music and meeting the cast. West Side Story, gave me a kind of a new vision of life.
Stephen had always hoped to become a painter, but now he confided in his elder brother that he wanted to chase a different dream.
One day he came to me and he said, David, I'm going to be a singer. I said, a singer? He said, you're going to be an artist. He said, no, I'm going to be a singer. I said, all right then, why don't you sing something for me? So he started to sing this song. I said, you'll never be a singer.
Yes, I'm going to be a pop star now. Yes, I'm going to be a pop star.
It was suddenly an explosion, and there were the Beatles, who had opened up a whole new window of opportunity for kids like me, and all you needed was a guitar.
Oh, mama, mama, see me, mama, see me on the TV.
The teenager persuaded his father to buy him his first guitar, and he retreated to his room above the restaurant. There, he immersed himself in music.
I suppose it was my retreat. I had all my records there, which were just by the side of my bed, so I could, go to sleep while the record was playing. And it was, in a way, my own little world.
In 1964, Stephen, Andrew Karitsis, and another pal formed a band of sorts. But only minutes into their first gig, it was obvious who the real star was.
Oh, mama, mama, see me. Mama, see me on my first gig.
Slowly, we kind of disappeared behind Stephen. And we slowly shrank behind him. And he just out there, he was giving it his all, and he was very good.
In the end, I realized I better go it alone.
So the ambitious young artist went to work, writing songs at a furious pace.
Baby, we're back to the good old times, and that's for sure.
A year passed and I said, well, okay, sing me some songs then. And he started to sing some songs. And I turned around to him and said, I think you're going to be a star.
Stephen now had his once skeptical big brother in his corner. David became an irrepressible force, determined to get Stephen discovered.
And I went to a restaurant right on the corner of Timpan Alley. I went into the restaurant. I stood up on a chair. I said, everybody quiet, because I knew it was full of people from the business. I need somebody in here to give me a name and address I have Gina's brother. He's a great singer.